Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Moreno from the Excellence Realty Tech Support Department. In this class, we're going to go over the estimating tool that Excellence Title provides to you, which is excellencetitle.titlecapture.com. And in this class, I'm going to discuss how the tool works and what type of estimates you can generate with this very useful system. But before we start the class, let me first let everyone into the meeting. And I would really appreciate it if you could let me know if you can hear me and see my screen as well. And if you are here, if you could please type in yes in the chat option here in Zoom. All right, so let me go and let you guys into the meeting. And if you could please type in yes in the chat box here in Zoom so I could to let me know if you can hear me and see my screen as well. What? All right, 1 second. All right, thank you so much for letting me know that you can hear me. Let me just let everyone know. Let everyone into the meeting. All right, so thank you so much again for the responses. And I would also like to disclose to everyone that I'm not a real estate agent, title agent, or mortgage broker. The purpose of this discussion today is mainly to show you how to navigate the system and provide some tips as well. All right, so let's go ahead and start. So the Excellence Title tool is basically an estimating tool that Excellence Title provides to you free of charge so that you can easily generate estimates and not have to calculate title fees manually. And to be able to access the tool, there are several ways to do so. And one way is if you're here on our website, excellencerealty.com, just go ahead and click Title and Escrow here at the top. And that's going to take you to the website of excellencetitle.com. And once you're here, just go ahead and click on Login on the top right corner there. And that's going to take you to the tool, which is excellencetitle.telecapture.com. Or if you're here in Realty Back Office, on the dashboard, just go ahead and scroll down to favorite links and vendors. Right here, and then click on Excellence Title. And from their website, just go ahead and click on Login on the top right corner. The link to the website of Excellence Title is also available here in excellencehub.com. It's going to be right here on the right-hand side. And when you click there, when you are on their website, just click on Login on the top right corner. So here on the sign-in page of the system, you can create a code right here without having to log in. Just click right here. And then here at the top, you'll be able to create a title code or a loan estimate code. Let's go back to the sign-in page. So right here, if you do not have an account yet, feel free to create an account for free right here. Just click on this button, this link, and put in your information, your email, and then create a password. Put in your name and type in Excellence Realty for the company and choose real estate agent and sign up. Let's go back to the login page and let's go ahead and log in. Let me put in the email. and the password. All right, so as you log in, you'll be able to see the different types of estimates here at the top. So here we have the seller net sheet, which is an estimate that you can provide to sellers on the day of your listing presentation. We also have the buyer estimate here that you can of course use to provide to buyers, giving them an estimated breakdown of the closing costs involved to purchase a property so they can have an idea how much money they would need to bring on the day of closing. Or maybe if you like to do any of these estimates here, just click under here. And maybe you want to do a monthly affordability estimate that you can use if you're working with a buyer that is searching for a house to buy, but they're not yet pre-qualified for a loan, but you want to help them know what purchase price they can afford to buy at. Or maybe the rent versus buy estimate, which is an estimate that you can use when you are working with a client who is currently renting and they're looking into the option of buying a property. All right, let's go ahead and scroll down here. So this is our attorney from Xcellence Title. His name is Paul Sardone, and feel free to reach out to him for any attorney-related questions that you might have. Also, when you log in, please do not forget to click on the circle in the top right corner and then go to profile so that you could add all of your contact information here, all of your details. And then once you complete that, just go ahead and click update info at the bottom here. And you can also upload your photo right here so that it appears on the estimate along with your contact information. Additionally, you can also make use of this option here, default costs, to add the numbers that you often use so that it auto-populates on the estimate for you. So please note that the default costs will apply to these estimate types only. All right, so now that we have discussed each section on the tool, let me now go ahead and dive right into generating a seller net sheet. But before we do that, I just wanted to show you Xcellence information here, and that you can also share the platform via email or through social media. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the seller net sheet. So as you know, the seller net sheet estimate is going to be very helpful on the day of your listing presentation, as it will provide the seller with the net proceeds of how much they will be receiving on the day of closing after they pay all of the closing costs and real estate commission. So the first field that we have here is property location. And just go ahead and type in the property address here. So let's say it's 3275 Northwest 24th Street Road, Miami, Florida. So once you see the property address, just go ahead and select it from the drop menu, like so. And our purchase price is going to be $300,000. And we have this closing date here. So the system gives 30 days by default, and of course you can change this as needed. And then now it's going to ask you who pays for title insurance. So when you click here, you'll be able to select from any of these choices here. This of course is negotiable between the parties. You can choose either buyer or seller, or if the cost is going to be split between the parties. So for this example, we're going to choose seller only, since we are trying to generate a seller net sheet so that the seller can see the fees just in case there's an offer on the table that has the seller paying for the title insurance. That way the seller can have an idea how much the cost will be prior to accepting the offer. So here, mortgage payoffs, just go ahead and type in the payoff loan amount if the seller has a mortgage that needs to be paid off. And let's say that it's $200,000. And if there's a second loan, you also have the option to type it in here. And let's go ahead and put in $5,000. Now we come here to real estate broker commission. So for this one, you can add the commission here for both sides, and you can choose either percentage or a dollar amount. So typically, this will be 3% or 2.5%. But for this example, we're going to say that it's 3%. Now here in transaction fee, Xcellence Realty charges a $300 fee per transaction to the consumer on the day of closing. And if you charge the fee to your client, you can add that amount here. And if you did not charge the fee to your client, please note that the fee will be deducted from your commission. So in this example, we're going to add the fee there. And for HOA dues, if the property has an association, we have the option here to add the payment amount so that it can get transferred to the estimate. So right here, you can also choose when the association fees are due, if it's monthly, quarterly, etc. So in this example, we're going to say that the homeowners association fee is $100 per month. All right, and then right here, you can say yes or no if the seller paid the current monthly dues. But in this example, we're going to say no, because typically the seller will not pay the dues and the association fee will be prorated. Under resale certificate and transfer fee, these are fees that some associations might charge, and you can inquire with the community and see if they charge these fees. And if they do, you can enter the amounts here. Now let's go to property taxes. So here, just type in the annual property tax amount. And for this example, we're going to say that it is $3,600. So over here, if you need to add any seller expenses and credits, you can do so in this section. So just add any additional items here. For example, maybe a charge to the seller or maybe a credit to the seller. Just go ahead and add the additional fees here. But for now, we're going to leave it blank, and we're going to click on calculate here so that the system can generate the estimate to see how much net proceeds the seller is going to receive on the day of closing. All right, so once the estimate is generated, you can make a flyer out of the estimate. So right here, we have 3 types of flyers that you can download. And let me go ahead and show you what the flyer will look like. So this is one of the flyers. And this is the other one. And if you scroll down, you'll have your information here at the bottom. And this is the other flyer. Let's go back to the estimate. And of course, you can download the PDF version of the estimate, which is going to be branded with Xcellence titles information and your contact information as well. And of course, you can share that PDF with your clients on the day of your listing presentation. So the PDF will look like this. So please do not forget to add your photo and details in your profile so that it shows on the estimate like this. And as you can see, it gives you a breakdown of the closing costs. So this again is our attorney from Xcellence Title, Paul Sordon. And let's go back to the estimate. So here you can also save the estimate. And once you click on save, you can see all of the saved estimates right here under save. And you can also email the estimate or edit it. You can also click on show more, and that's going to give you a quick summary of the seller net sheet. All right, so now here, so on the estimate, as you can see, this is the amount the seller will receive on the day of closing after paying all of the closing costs. And the settlement fee, this one here is charged based on the location of the property. So for South Florida, from the Florida Keys to West Palm Beach, the closing fee with Xcellence Title is $695. But past West Palm Beach and for the rest of Florida, the closing fee is only $495. And it's also going to calculate the title insurance policy automatically if you chose the seller. If the buyer is going to choose a title company and they're going to pay for their own title insurance policy, then no need to worry about the amount here, but you still want to include it on the estimate so that the seller can see the fee just in case they pay for that. We also have a recording and transfer fees here, which is what the county where the property is located charges to transfer the title. You have the payoff loan amount here and the breakdown of the commissions on both sides, as well as the transaction fee that Xcellence Realty charges. So over here, it's also going to calculate the prorated amount that the seller is going to be crediting the buyer on the day of closing for property taxes. And right here, it's also going to prorate the homeowners in association fees if there are any. For other seller expensive credits, if, for example, the seller needs to give the buyer a credit at closing, it will appear in this section. All right, so that's how you generate the seller net sheet. And also note that you can use the seller net sheet for vacant lots or land with no assigned address. Just go ahead and use the property address closest to the lot or land, and the fees are going to be charged according to the city. So now let's proceed with the next estimate that you can generate with this tool, which is the buyer estimate. So as you know, the buyer estimate, we can provide this one to the buyer so they can have an estimated breakdown of the closing costs involved in purchasing a property so that the buyer can have an idea how much money they would need to bring on the day of closing. So here in property location, we're going to type in the property address that the client is thinking of buying. And then we're going to select it from the drop menu. And then we're going to choose the transaction type here. So is the buyer going to purchase with financing, or is the buyer going to pay in cash? So we're going to select purchase with financing for this example. And then we're going to choose the loan type. So is the loan type going to be the conventional loan, VA, or the FHA loan? So FHA is the first time buyer's home loan, which is a 3.5% minimum down payment. But for this example, we're going to use conventional. Then we're going to go ahead and add the sales price the property is selling for. And let's say that it's $300,000. For the down payment, it's defaulted at 20%. But for this example, let's go ahead and type in 5%. And as you can see, the loan amount will also calculate it for you automatically. The interest rate, this is going to say 4.25% by default, but this too can be changed. And let's go ahead and put in 3%. So for this part, if the buyer has any questions regarding today's interest rates, please feel free to provide them with the contact information of Xcellence Mortgage. All right, so it looks like we do have a question here. Is it possible to add USDA to the financing options? So that one, I'm not really too sure. I'll need to get back to you on that after that question. I do apologize. I'll make a note of your question, and we will get back to you about your question. All right, so let's proceed to the loan term. So for the loan term, we're going to choose 30 years from the selection. And for the closing date, let's say that the closing date is going to be this date here. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and choose who pays for title insurance, if it's the buyer or the seller, or if it's going to be divided between the two parties equally. So for this example, we're going to choose buyer. Since we are creating a buyer estimate, that way the buyer can see how much it costs for title insurance. So endorsements, no need to fill this out because it's already selected. Home insurance, let's go ahead and type in the annual home insurance amount in this field. So this is going to be the amount of the policy for the whole year, taking into account the 4-point inspection and the wind mitigation reports that you're going to provide to the insurance company so they can give you a quote. So please inform the buyer that this amount is an estimate. So for this example, we're going to type in $3,000. And for property taxes, just type in the amount which can be obtained from public records. So for this example, we're going to have the amount as $3,600. Now let's go to real estate broker commissions. So as you know, the brokerage Xcellence Realty fee is $300. And if you're charging the fee to the buyer, please enter the amount here. And if you're not charging the fee to the buyer, please note that the fee will be deducted from your commission. Now here in HOA dues, we're going to say that the amount is $100 monthly. So again, here you can choose the frequency. And for now, we're going to choose monthly. And then right here, for this question, even though the seller says that they paid for it, always say no to this question so that it shows on the estimate, so that in case the closing is in the next month, and in that month, let's say the seller did not pay for the association dues, at least it's going to appear on the estimate. And if it's a single family home with no homeowners association, then there's no need for us to worry about this area. All right, so now let's go and proceed to the next section, which is impounds. So here we're going to discuss how to fill out this section. And basically, impounds is a terminology that is used in this system, but it's actually referring to prepaids. And as you know, prepaids are fees that the buyer would need to pay in advance on the day of closing. So for this example, we're going to determine the number of months to put for home insurance and property taxes, which would be here in county taxes. So I do have a chart here for our discussion on prepaids for property taxes, which is going to show us all of the months in a year to make it easy for us to see how many months would need to be collected for prepaids. All right, so in this example, the 2020 taxes for the property is $3,000. I make that $3,600 with a closing date of July 15, 2021. The first mortgage payment is going to be on September the 1st, because typically the bank is going to provide the buyer anywhere between 30 and 45 days from the closing date of no mortgage payments. So with that said, the buyer's first mortgage payment is again going to be on September 1. So again, since there are no mortgage payments from July 15 to July 31, and for the entire month of August, the next mortgage payment that the buyer will pay is on September 1st, and then on October the 1st, October the 1st, and so on. But don't forget that the property taxes are due in November, which means that the buyer must have enough money in the escrow account for the mortgage servicer to be able to pay for the property taxes when the payment is due. So having said that, let's go ahead and use the calculator. And here we're going to put $3,600, which is the property taxes. Now we're going to divide that by 12 months. And it's going to equal to this amount here per month that needs to be collected before the taxes are due. So since the property was purchased July the 15th, the seller provided the buyer with credit from January 1st to July 15, 2021, which is about 6.5 months worth of credit that the buyer can use to pay for the property taxes that are due in November. So with that said, let's now go to the date calculator. And we're going to use the date-to-date calculator. And we're going to enter in right here, January 1st, 2021. And right here, we're going to say the 15th of July. right, so now that's going to give us a total of 195 days. So now let's enter the amount of 3,600 on the calculator for the property taxes, and we're going to divide this by 365 days, which is going to give us this amount here. Now we're going to multiply this daily amount with 195 days, which is giving us this amount here. And if we round off this amount, it's going to give us $1,923.29. And this is now the amount that the seller credited the buyer on the day of closing. All right, so let's go back to the chart. And we know that the first mortgage payment is going to be on September the 1st, which will give us an additional 300 and another 300 for the month of October. And we know that the taxes are going to be due in November. So with that said, let's go back to the calculator and we're going to add those amounts. So plus 300 and another 300, which is going to give us this amount here. So this is the amount that the buyer now has to pay for the property taxes. But remember that the annual taxes are $3,600, which means that the buyer will be short in money to pay for the taxes. So right here on the calculator, we're going to click on the minus sign and let's put in 3,600, which is giving us this amount. And let's type in this same amount. So $1,076.71. And we're going to divide this by $300, which is the amount for the monthly taxes. All right, so now it's giving us this number. And now we know that the buyer is going to be short by this number of months. So having said that, the lender is probably going to round it off and collect 4 months in advance for property taxes to be on the safe side. So let's go back to our estimate. And right here in county taxes, let's go ahead and put in the number for 4 months. All right, so we're done with county taxes. Let's now calculate the number of months for the homeowner's insurance. So for homeowner's insurance, the amount has to be paid upfront by the buyer for the entire year, plus the prepaid amounts the lender will collect for the following year. So again, the amount the buyer needs to pay for the policy upfront for the whole year is $3,000 for this example, which is from July the 15th, 2021 to July 14, 2022. But since the lender is going to require extra money for next year, we will now calculate the number of months to put for homeowners insurance prepaids. So in this example, as we know, since there was no mortgage payment for July 15 to July 31st, as well as the month of August, the first mortgage payment will be due on September 1. So now let's go ahead and count from September all the way to June. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which means that's only 10 months, which the buyer paid for homeowners insurance, which means the buyer is going to be short about 2 months. And that's the number that we will put under homeowners insurance under impound. So let's go back to the estimate. And right here, we're going to type in 2 for 2 months. And that's how we calculate the number of months that we need to add in this field here. Additionally, though, even though we calculated 2, the lender will probably want to collect 3 months to have the extra money in the escrow account so that the buyer does not have a shortage. But just always remember, just let the buyer know that this is an estimate and that the lender ultimately is the one that's going to calculate these numbers. So as you can imagine, it's really important to fill out this portion of the estimate so that the estimate is not short. And when you give the buyer the estimate, it will include the prepaid amounts as well. And remember, if you need any assistance in obtaining the buyer estimate, feel free to reach out to Xcellence Mortgage so they can assist your client. All right, so now let's go ahead and proceed to lender fees. So if the client is working with Xcellence Mortgage, the buyer should receive a breakdown of the mortgage fees so that you can enter them here in this area. And if the buyer is using a different lender, then you can get that estimate from them so they can enter the information here as well. So here in lender origination charge, Xcellence Mortgage does not charge this fee because we only charge a processing fee of $7.95. So we're going to leave this area blank. And let's go here to property appraisal. And for property appraisal, let's say that it's $550. Now here in credit report, the credit report fee is the amount the lender charges to run the credit. And for this example, let's say it costs $30 every time the lender runs the credit. But let's say that we have a husband and wife. So in that case, that will be $60 to run the credit reports. And additionally, the lender might charge the fee twice per person since the lender will run the credit at the time of taking the loan application and right before the loan closes. So with that said, let's go ahead and type in $120 for credit report. The tax service fee typically is $120, but the fee is different per lender. Here in flood certification, this amount depends on the lender as well. But let's say this in this example that the fee is $8, since this is the amount that Xcellence Mortgage charges for the flood certificate. All right, down here in the processing fee section, this is the processing fee that Xcellence Mortgage charges, and it's going to calculate it for you automatically. The underwriter fee, this is also different per lender, but let's say that it's $9.95. And now this one, prepaid interest, prepaid interest, this will calculate automatically for you as well. Under other fees, just go ahead and type in any other charges that need to be added to the estimate. But for now, we're going to leave this blank. And right here, under other expense and credits, it's basically asking you if there are any other expenses that the buyer has to pay, or maybe any credits that are given to the buyer. So maybe there's a buyer's credit of $2,000 to reduce the buyer's cost. And if that's the case, just go ahead and enter the information here. Right, for now, we're going to leave it blank. And we're going to click calculate. All right, so now we have the buyer estimate. So again, here you can click on show more, which is going to give you a quick summary of the estimate. And you have the same options here at the top. Let's go ahead and scroll down. All right, so right here, this is the estimated amount that the buyer would pay at closing. And this is the estimated monthly mortgage payment with the breakdown. So for PMI, this is going to depend on the client's credit. If they have excellent credit, then their PMI can be lower. So please note that the PMI can fluctuate as well as home insurance due to the 4-point inspection and wind mitigation reports. And property taxes will also change once the county reassesses the property value. And also remember that it's always better to provide the buyer with a tax estimator, which you can obtain from the county or the city that the property is located in. All right, so now down here, we have the breakdown of the amount due at closing. So right here, you have your down payment, lender fees breakdown, and so forth. All right, and that's how easy it is to fill out the buyer estimate. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which is the title quote. All right, so the title quote is an estimate that is going to provide you with a quote for both buyers and sellers, which will only calculate the title fees. So right here in property location, we're going to use the same property address, 3275 Northwest. This one here, we're going to choose it from the drop menu. And right here in transaction type, we're going to say that we are purchasing with financing. And our purchase price is going to be $300,000. For the loan amount, let's go ahead and add the amount here. So let's say we are financing with a 95% loan. So let's get the calculator. We're going to put $300,000 times 0.95. And let's go ahead and put in this loan amount. All right, and then we have who pays for title insurance. We're going to say seller only. No need to fill out endorsements. And let's go ahead and hit calculate. All right, so as you can see, it gives us a breakdown on both sides of the transaction in case you're working with a buyer and a seller at the same time. And of course, you can present this estimate to them so they could see the title fees. So again, please note that the closing fee for Xcellence title is $695 for South Florida only. When it's past West Palm Beach, the fee is going to be $495. And the system is going to calculate the fee for you automatically when you enter the property address. All right, so that's how easy it is to generate the title quote. Now we're going to discuss the next type of estimate, which is the monthly affordability estimate. Just come right here to the drop menu, and we're going to choose the monthly affordability. All right, so the monthly affordability estimate, you can use this estimate when you are working with a buyer that is searching for a house to buy, but they're not yet pre-qualified for a loan, but you want to help them know what purchase price they can afford to buy at. So here where it says monthly payment goal, just go ahead and type in the amount that the buyer would like to have as his or her own, or make that monthly payment. So for this example, let's go ahead and type in $2,000 and then enter the property location of the property that the buyer is interested in. All right, so here we have to choose what the loan type is. Is it going to be the conventional, VA, or FHA? For now, we're going to use conventional. For the down payment, let's go ahead and say that it's 5% with an interest rate of 3%. The loan term, we're going to leave it at 30 years. And for the closing date, let's say that it's this is the closing date. But of course, you can change this if you need to change the closing date. Who pays for title insurance? Since this is a monthly affordability estimate that we are generating, we're going to choose buyer only. Endorsements is already pre-filled, so don't worry about that. Home insurance. Let's go ahead and enter the amount of $3,000 per year for this example. And under property taxes, just type in the annual property tax amount, and let's say that it's $3,600. So here, homeowners association dues. If there are any homeowners association dues, just go ahead and enter them here. For now, we're going to say that it's $100 per month, and we're going to say no here. All right, so now we come to impounds. So for this estimate, we once again have the prepaid section here. So we're going to enter the numbers from our last example so that the buyer has a cushion inside the escrow account for property taxes and home insurance. So let's go ahead and type in 2 months here and 4 months for property taxes. So I would like to point out that it's very important to fill out this section for impounds, which is for prepaids, so that the estimate is not going to be short and the buyer will be able to get a proper estimate of all the closing costs. Now here in lender fees, let's go ahead and complete this section. So for property appraisal, let's put in 550. And credit report, we're going to say $120. So per person, let's say that it's $30, which is going to be run twice. And let's say that we have a husband and wife. So that's going to be multiplied by 2. And that's how we came up with $120. Then we have a tax service fee of $120. Flood certificate would be $8. Processing fee of Xcellence Mortgage is $7.95. Underwriter fee. So this one, every lender is different depending on the bank being used. So please make sure to run the numbers with the loan officer you're working with. But for this example, we're going to use $9.95. So here in other expenses and credits, is there any other expenses that the buyer has to pay or any credits that are given to them? Just go ahead and enter the information here. But for now, we're going to leave it blank and let's click on calculate. All right, so now we have the estimate for the monthly affordability. The monthly total over here is saying that if the buyer wants to pay $2,000 a month, the buyer has to purchase a property for this amount here or below. So basically, the buyer can qualify to purchase a property up to this amount or lower for a monthly payment of $2,000. So over here, PMI is determined by how good their credit is. If they have good credit, they will qualify for low PMI. And if they have bad credit, it's going to be a higher PMI. So please make sure to get the estimates from the lender. Also note that the estimate will change depending on the property taxes, insurance, flood, and HOA and PMI. And scrolling down here, it's also going to provide you with a breakdown of the closing costs per category as well. All right, there you have it. We have generated a monthly affordability estimate. So now let's jump right into the next one that we're going to do, which is the rent versus buy estimate. All right, so the rent versus buy estimate, this is an estimate that you can use when you are working with a client who is renting and are looking into purchasing a property. So basically, this estimate will provide your client with the information that they need to be able to see the difference financially between renting and buying to see if it makes more sense for them to buy or continue renting. So we have the current monthly rent here, and we're going to say that the current monthly rent amount is $2,000. So right here in property location, just go ahead and enter the property address of the potential property that the client would like to purchase. All right, and let's say that the property that the buyer would like to buy is going to be for $300,000. We're going to use conventional loan with a 5% down payment. So as you change the percentage here in down payment, the loan amount is also going to change. Interest rate. So this would depend on the person's credit. So please make sure to talk with Xcellence Mortgage or the lender that you're working with to get the buyer pre-qualified to be able to get the exact numbers. So for this example, we're going to use 3%. And we're going to have a loan term of 30 years. And here in the rent appreciation, we're going to say that it's 3%. Rent insurance, typically this is for $500 or $700 a year, but for now we're going to leave it blank. And for annual price appreciation, we're going to say that it's 3%, since the cost of living typically goes up by 3% every year. Now here in buyer's income tax rate, let's say that the tax rate from the buyer's tax returns is 22%. We have our closing date auto-populated. Let's go to home insurance. And we're going to use the same figure, $3,000. Property taxes, we're going to put in the same amount, 3,600. And we're going to say that the property has an association and the monthly payment is $100. We're going to say no here. And so down here, we again have the impound section that we have to fill out for prepaids. And remember, it's better to have an additional amount than to be short on the estimate. So let's go ahead and fill out this section for prepaids. And we're going to use the same numbers, 2 months for home insurance and 4 months for property taxes. So those are the number of months in reserves that are going to be collected in advance. And the last one that we have here is lender fees. So let's go ahead and fill out this section. So for this section, to get the information, to speak with the loan officer. But for now, we're going to use the numbers from Xcellence Mortgage. But any questions you might have, feel free to reach out to Xcellence Mortgage as well. So appraisal, let's use the same number, 550. Credit report, $120 for husband and wife. Credit certification fee, $8. And processing fee of $7.95. And an underwriter fee of $9.95. Let's go ahead and hit calculate. All right, so now we have the estimate here with this line chart, which is basically saying that it's cheaper for the client to buy a property rather than continue renting after 5 years. So having said that, the client will be able to save a lot of money if he or she opts to purchase a property than continue renting. So these amounts here, it is how much it will cost them to buy or rent in that period of time. So down here, we also have the breakdown of the closing, the monthly costs and the amounts due at closing. All right, so that's the rent versus buy estimate that you can present to your rental clients. And those are some of the estimates that you can generate very easily using this system to make it very easy for you to calculate fees so you don't have to manually calculate them yourself. So now let's go to the website of Xcellence Title. And remember, with Xcellence Title, you can close a transaction anywhere in the state of Florida or close a transaction even if it's out of state or out of the country, depending on the country. Xcellence Title can send a remote closer to your client's home or their business location to make it easy for them to sign the closing documents. And you also do not have to worry about the cost for the remote closer because Xcellence Title will cover the cost. You can also get a lot of information here in their contact and request page. And if you will be using the services of Xcellence Title, you can get their information here, their phone number, email, corporate address, and you can add all of that information to the contract. Also, Xcellence Title makes it very convenient, easy, and stress-free for your clients to make the escrow deposit online right here from our website. So to do so, just go ahead and click on Earnest and Earnest Deposit here at the top. And of course, you can share this link with your clients, and the client will acknowledge that they're making a purchase earnest deposit. So right here, they're going to say okay. And on this next page here, they're going to fill out this page and put in your name here and click submit. And on the next page, we're going to ask for their banking information so they can make the payment online. So after the form is filled out, within a couple of days, we will have that escrow money in our account, all without you, the agent, having to get pick up a check and deliver it to a title company, or having to put your customer through the hassle of doing a wire deposit, or having your customer go to a physical title company and deliver the funds. So all of those are eliminated if you share this link with your clients. So please note that Xcellence Title only holds escrow money for sale transactions. If you have a lease transaction and you need Excellence Realty to hold escrow monies, that can be done through Excellence Realty, where we basically have a similar process. And you can go to our website, excellencerealty.com, and click on the earnest deposit option at the top of the page, which would be for rentals. And note that Excellence Realty only holds escrow monies for rental transactions, and Excellence Title holds escrow monies for purchase transactions that Excellence Title is named the escrow agent and doing the closing for. Additionally, guys, if you need to submit a title order, you can also do it right here from our website. And this is actually the best and the most efficient way to submit the title order. Just go ahead and click on the button, Submit Title Order. And you're going to say that you're a realtor and fill out the form with information, property information, and the client's information, and upload the contract. So once you submit the request, we will receive it right away, and Excellence Title will create a file for you and start processing the request. The other way to be able to submit a title order to Excellence Title is through Realty Back Office. So right here, where when you are inside of the transaction file, just like this, under the Contacts tab, you can click on Add the Transaction Contacts here, and you can add our licensed title agent. Her name is Doris Lopez, and you can add her to the file. And once you add her to the file, an email is going to go out to Excellence Title, and the email will contain transaction details, as well as links to the documents that were uploaded to the transaction. And the email will also contain a list of contacts involved in the transaction so that when we receive the file, we can get started on it right away. All right, let's go back to the website of Excellence Title. And let's click on Contacts and Page here. So if we scroll down on this page, you also have the option to request for an update about the title and the lien search right here. You can get it via email or phone. And you can also request for the escrow letter right here. Just go ahead and click on the button and fill out the form and send a request so that Excellence Title can email you the escrow letter. Also, in case the deal is canceled, it's also very easy to request for the escrow release. Just click on the button here and fill this out, upload the release and cancellation, and send a request to Excellence Title so that they can refund the money back to your customer. All right, so one more item that I would like to mention to you is that if your client uses the preferred vendors, Excellence Mortgage and Excellence Title, as a thank you for using the services, Excellence Mortgage will present your buyer with a 1-year home warranty policy from American Home Shield. All right, so with this home warranty policy that's going to be provided to your clients, it's going to give them peace of mind so they don't have to worry about major repairs after closing. Also, 10 days before closing, Excellence Title will contact you to coordinate mailing out to you this beautiful gift basket containing delicious goodies and wine that you can give to your clients on the day of closing as a thank you for using the Excellence Title services. So I just wanted to mention about that. But let's go back to my window here. And I also wanted to mention to everyone that we have our own internal communication platform that we use, which is excellencehub.com. And if you do not have access to this yet, please book your appointment with tech support so they can help you get set up for Excellence Hub and also help you download the app as well. So during the meeting, we're also going to help you access Excellence Marketing, the mobile app, and the Excellence title system that we just discussed. So here in Excellence Hub, the support options are here on the menu. And if you have any questions, For the support team or the office, feel free to go here and you can reach out to us via phone or email. And you can also book an appointment through Zoom. If you have broker support questions or tech support questions, just click on those buttons and choose the appointment type. So broker support, this would be for any broker or contract related questions. Agent support would be for any questions that you might have for about subscription or membership, or maybe if you have any questions about your website, agent support can help you with those questions. Accounting support would be for any commission related questions. And tech support would be for any questions about any of the tools that we offer. So let's say maybe you have a question about Xcellence marketing or Realty Back Office, how to add a charge item or a payout item in Realty Back Office, or any questions at all about any of the tools, feel free to reach out to tech support. Let me also show you the training and support button here in Realty Back Office. So when you click right here, you also have the support options available. And we also have on-demand agent training. So when you click here, it's going to take you to this page where we store all of our resources, webinars, past classes, everything's here. And if you scroll down under Xcellence Title, we also have Title 2 stays here. And they basically do classes. And it's going to be with our attorney from Xcellence Title, Paul Sardone, with Mr. Danny Barnes, discussing different topics about Xcellence Title. So feel free to watch these videos here. And we also have contract training to learn more about the contracts. All right, so that concludes our class for today. Thank you so much for coming to class. Let me go ahead and give you a few seconds for any questions that you might have. For that question that's pending, don't worry, I will get back to you about your question. All right, so it looks like there are no questions coming in. So again, thank you so much for coming to class today. I really hope you learned a lot and I wish you all a wonderful day.